Right, welcome everybody to the first BTS Careers Pathways event. My name's Louisa Todd. I'm one of the directors of BTS. BTS has been going 19 years. I'm not actually quite sure where those 19 years have gone. I've got 35 years experience in learning and development. Not quite sure where that 35 years has gone either. And I will be your host. I am joined by two lovely guests. Absolutely delighted to have my old mucker Ruth Downs with us. Yeah, and James Tout, who I've recently got to know. So welcome both of you. I will come back to you obviously in a moment. Everybody, I live in North Yorkshire. I am married. I'm a huge animal lover and I have three gorgeous furry boys called Mally, Monty and Peony, all named after wine grapes, but don't read anything into that. The decision to launch these events was really built around the fact that we speak to lots of candidates day in, day out, and we tend to get asked fairly similar questions. So we thought we wanted to provide some sort of medium where we could invite selected guests on, get them to share their experiences in different areas. So to help candidates, to give them somewhere to go and just listening to other people's experiences. So hence the Careers Pathways events were thought of and launched. And this is our first one. So welcome everybody. So I'm going to go to James first. James, if you could just introduce yourself and tell everybody where you currently are in your financial services journey. And then Ruth, I'll come to you and ask you the same question. So over to you, James.
Thanks, Louisa. Well, I'm not quite at the beginning, but I'm not working in the industry at the moment. That hopefully is a step I'll be able to take soon. My background was in journalism and PR for quite a number of years. And then just before the pandemic hit, I decided to train to get into financial planning. And I've since completed all of the RO exams. I took RO6 yesterday. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Fantastic. Thank you, James. Ruth, over to you.
So follow on from your fab introduction, I'm from Manchester, so little town called Wilmslow. Also a massive animal lover. I've got a little furry child called Nessie, short for Nespresso, because she's got really big eyes. Live with my partner. Also just love anything kind of fitness related. And in my financial journey currently, I have been an advisor for just coming up to a year now, and just took the leap from an employed role today to a self-employed role. So very exciting time, still as a financial advisor, but exciting.
Fantastic, thank you. Everybody, the format of today is really just about myself, Ruth, James, talking about their experiences, chatting about the challenges, where they went for information, etc. It's going to last roughly 30 to 40 minutes. But that's very much a ballpark figure. What we'd probably like is to hang on to any questions until the end. So I'm going to keep an eye on the time, probably chat for about 25 minutes, though I'm sure the three of us, let's be honest, could probably chat for an awfully long time. So I'm going to go to about 25 past and then probably open up the mic if anybody has got any questions. If they don't have any questions, we'll just carry on for a few more minutes. So that's our cunning plan. Right, so I'm going to start with yourself, Ruth. Tell us about why you decided that the financial services industry was for you.
Yeah, of course. So my mum lives in Cape Town in South Africa, and I go to visit her once every 2 years, just check she's okay. And this 1 year, to summarize, her health had massively deteriorated, and I didn't find out till I got out there. I frog marched her to the doctors and I went, right, you know, let's get this checked out. Nothing wrong with me, blah, blah, blah. I had the diagnosis that she had 3 weeks to live unless she had a double bypass and a valve transplant. I was a fieldwork and operations director for a global communications agency.
That sounds very grand.
So basically all of the ads that you see for Aldi, you know, you could have had this, but you can have this. So I helped design those, even down to like the pregnancy tests, Clear Blue, and like giving the days that you're pregnant. I helped with the research to, not personally, but obviously coordinating the research to do that. And I loved my job. But I was told to look into my mum's finances because they didn't think she was going to make it through the operation. She'd left it quite late. She was quite old. I reached out to financial advisors in the UK to ask for help when I looked into her pensions and investments. And I was just left like lost really, because they wouldn't deal with me, to summarize, because I didn't have anything to invest. So it was kind of, the impression I got was it wasn't worth their time. And number two, it was just, they said I wasn't going to understand it in the time frame. Now, Louisa, I was at the toughest point in my life I'd ever been. I'd given up my career. I'd moved countries to look after my mum, who potentially might not have made it. And I wasn't able to get answers to my questions. So, yeah, I'm not the type of person you say that to. So I was like, something has to change. So I came back when my mum recovered, which she did. And I completely retrained to do this. And because I vowed that never should anyone that knows me be in that position again, where they don't have access to answers to just simple questions, because I don't think financial services is complicated. It's just the way that it's explained and how it comes across. And that's what led me to do what I do.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Actually, the sort of stuff that we're talking about, you can put it across simply, but simply doesn't seem to be the sort of like key objective when you look at a lot of the paperwork. So no, I 100% concur. Thanks, Ruth. James, what about you? What got you, thinking about, right, I'm going to change career, financial services, that's for me?
Yeah, I think, you know, some similarities to Ruth's story. I mean, I'd been working in comms for quite a long time, but I guess I'd fallen out of love with it and just wasn't really getting the kick from that. And then on the other side of things, I was helping my mum as well with her finances and you know, coming at it from, you know, helping her with investments and looking at her pension as well and all of that kind of thing. And, you know, from managing my own ISA and things like that as well, I think I just got a bit of you know, I got the bug, if you like, for managing things and a general interest in economics and finance as well. And I think all of that just converged and sort of pushed me towards that as a career idea. And, you know, I've also dealt with financial advisors myself over the years, and, you know, some of them, you know, very impressive, and I suppose I just could see myself in that role.
Yeah, well, you both, I have to say, sound really enthusiastic and passionate about it, which personally, is so essential. Great believer in loving what you do. If you love what you do, if you're interested in it, that comes across to clients, it comes across to potential employers. Total prerequisite. Yeah. So in terms of yourself, James, how did you go about finding out what you needed to do, how you could do it? Yeah, because it's quite a big step from sort of like journalism, moving across to financial services. And there's so much generic info out there. Yeah, tell us a little bit about your journey through the qualifications.
Yeah, I think I sort of started off just, you know, Googling and seeing stuff on YouTube, you know, people like Pete Matthew, who you may have come across, and some of his YouTube content was just very interesting and also quite good in pointing me towards the qualification providers. And I think, you know, I looked at LIBF and CII and did a bit more reading around that, and it seemed to me that CII was, you know, generally speaking, better regarded in the industry. So I thought, well, I'll go down that route then, self-funded through through all of the exams. But when I first started on RO1, I made the mistake really of just using the CII course book, and that was very, very hard going. And just to kind of put a bit of context on it, when I started, it was kind of the beginning of 2020. I'd left my employed role, but I'd then been re-employed as a freelance by the company that acquired my old firm. And so I was pretty busy with that, and I guess the temptation was just to keep pushing the study to the side, because the course book was very dense and like trudging through mud. And
it's not the most scintillating of subjects, is it? RO1, you've got to work hard to bring that to life a bit.
You do, and I think because it's there's a heavy emphasis in that particular course book on the regulatory side and the nuts and bolts of the FCA handbook and all these other quite obscure things that because to me the industry is about helping people. It's about getting them to sort their finances out in order to enable them to do the things they want to do in their lives. And this course book was very much coming at it from the top down regulatory perspective. And anyway, then the pandemic hit, and we were all, at sea, weren't we? I had kids at home trying to do, being a teacher for the first time, and all of that crazy stuff. And the study just really fell by the wayside, and I didn't really get back into it until over a year later. So I about a year ago, last April, I said, right, I'm going to really knuckle down. I'm going to just get RO1 done. I struggled on with the CII book, and I did get the exam, which was great. But then I came across the BTS materials, and I think that was through the Financial Planner Life podcast with Sam Oakes.
Sam Oakes, yeah.
And I'd seen you on there, and I just investigated.
I might have been wearing the same top, actually, James.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I'd already bought the RO2. No, I did RO4, I think, next.
Wow.
And I bought the CII book for that, and that was just even more painful because that was, pension.
And actually, that's not a logical flow, because for your RO4, you actually need to know a bit about tax, RO3, and actually a bit about investments, RO2. So I think what I'm hearing from you is it was mainly YouTube, bit of trial and error, and actually there's not a massive amount of information out there to say you've got some options, try this, you don't have to just go that route. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. I don't think there's a huge amount of information out there. I just stumbled across, some bits and pieces that pushed me in the right direction. But then, I suppose it takes on
luck, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then it kind of takes on a momentum of its own. Yeah. And once I got hold of your course books, it became a lot easier. So, I've done RO2 to RO6 from last October to yesterday.
Fantastic.
And it's been a lot easier to get my head around.
What about finding a role within financial services? Can you tell us a little bit about how that's going, how you're finding it? Because I would imagine that's quite difficult as well, knowing where to start.
Yeah, it is. And as you may be able to see the poster behind me of Croyd Bay. I live in North Devon, which is a pretty remote rural area. Obviously, you may be able to tell I'm not originally from here. I'm from London originally, but there isn't a massive amount of financial firms on the ground here. So my net is going to have to be cast pretty wide. But I suppose my mindset was to try and get qualified as quickly as I could first, whilst I was continuing to do freelance work, to equip me with that knowledge, because I'm coming up to a significant birthday. I won't tell you which one, and I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be going into to places for interviews and things with no knowledge, because you know, I want to be able to hit the ground running, and I don't want to kind of waste time. See what I mean?
And actually, you're showing them, that you've got that drive, that enthusiasm, and the ability to work on your own, achieve those qualifications, and we both know that they're far from easy. So yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you, James.
That's the thinking.
Ruth, I'm going to come back to you. Tell us a little bit about how you ended up with your first firm. How did you find somebody to take you on?
So it was an interesting journey. I wasn't sure where to start, and I ended up getting, just through family contact, I ended up taking a role as a personal assistant for a company down in London that would actually train me to become a practice support specialist whilst doing my role. So I could earn a little bit of money, but also learn to do, should we say, the role behind the financial advisor role. If not, I'd say it could be like more important than what we do, because it's just phenomenal, the paperwork that goes with it. And so I was learning to do that. And then to do that role as a practice support specialist, I ended up going on different kind of in-person, I don't know what you call them, like seminars that you had to get to qualify to get this. And you know me, I'll make friends in a graveyard. I love just to chat to people. And I got chatting to one lady, and she just completely shaped my career, because she just looked at me and she said, "What the heck are you doing behind the scenes?" She was like, "You need to be in front of people, in front of clients, doing what you do." And I was like, "Oh, right. Well, you know, I quite like detail, and I quite like, you know, doing," and I thought that's why I thought I'd do the other role. She said, no. She's like, "Go to this other, you know, you need to have a word with a friend of ours who is heading up a training academy." She was like, "All I can do is put you in touch, you send your CV, that's it." So for my first company, that's what I did. I met these two gentlemen that were heading up this training program, and I was fortunate enough to get into it. And then they kind of, should we say, paid me to do the job whilst training in the job, obviously. And it was a great opportunity to start. And that was how I got introduced to yourself, because as a company, they were like, "Yeah, let's get you through. We'll use Louisa at BTS." And that was how I ended up where I was first of all.
Because I think from memory, Ruth, you were a bit, it was a lot of quite a bit of full-time studying, with sort of like some building your business sessions as well. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it was. So I'm just trying to think back now. It seems like ages ago.
Seems like a long time ago.
Pre-COVID, and everything. So it was a lot of kind of, we purely were in heads in the books and studying, and they gave us time to do that. So we were very fortunate. And it was also about networking, you know, the role of an advisor, what you need to do, think about, and they guided you to do that, and what the first meeting process was, you know, how to read body language, etc. So I was very fortunate that I had that platform to get me to where I am today.
And did they ask you, so when we were talking to James about, him doing effectively all the CII Level 4 qualifications before trying to find a role, did your first employer ask you to do any of the ROs off your own back, or?
Yeah, that was I think we had to do or pass LP1.
Right.
Which I've got somewhere, but we had to pass LP1.
I can't even remember what LP1 is. I think, is it life administration, LP1?
Something like that. It's the very, very basic versions of financial advice summarized. And I think that was just to get into the program, to show that you could absorb the knowledge and do an exam to pass it. Gosh, I studied within an inch of my life. I actually got 100% on that exam, because I dedicated about 2 months purely just to reading inside out. So I got that. And then when we went in, we did LP2, so the next level up, and then we went on to the ROs.
So what I think I'm hearing from both of you is actually getting into financial services. First of all, it's that passion. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm hearing you want to make a difference. Yeah, you want, and I know it sounds corny, but you want to help people. And
Yeah.
actually, it's something that you both find really interesting. But in terms of getting started in financial services, yeah, your roots are slightly different because yours sounds like it was from networking, yeah, and seminars. And James, yours sounds like it was, yeah, looking on YouTube, looking on Google, trying to soak up as much information, yeah, via those mediums. So, I mean, somebody sat there listening to us, wanting to get started in financial services. Either of you, what would be your biggest bit of advice for them? Yeah, and I don't mind who goes first on this question.
I'm unmuted. I'll go first if you want, James. Yeah, I'd probably say do it, investigate. There's tons of people out. Reach out to me. You've come on this. Send me a message on LinkedIn and just I'm thinking about this. And what do you think? There are avenues out there where you can find out more. I had to do a lot of researching, speak to a lot of people, try and understand what's the difference between being a paraplanner and an advisor. What's the difference in the qualifications that you need?
Yeah.
Where do you get started? LP1 and LP2 were very, very, looking back, really good to I said, just to find out if it's what you meant to do and if you're able to, if it does spark joy in your life, and you feel you're going to be able to communicate it to others. So yeah, I'm glad I did that because it really made. Then just commit, just do it. Just, life happens outside your comfort zone. It's about the journey, not necessarily the destination. So just embrace it and go for it. And
Have you
there's
got that
tons
off
of
a coffee
people.
mug?
I know, a flipping heck. Less caffeine for me.
I think LinkedIn is a great medium. Yeah. I mean, James, I think we first connected directly on LinkedIn, and that actually, I think I've been amazed at how much help there is on LinkedIn. And if you say I'm thinking of doing this, have you found, James, people have actually come out of the woodwork and said, well, try this, do this?
Yeah, very much so. And I think the post that I put up on LinkedIn about a month ago, I think it was, that put us in touch was just kind of a summary of my journey so far. And it was amazing the reaction it got. I mean, it got about 10,000 views or something. Lots of people in the industry who I wasn't directly in touch with, suddenly appear, and I was getting some good conversations out of that. With yourself, but also with other people, and I suppose it emboldened me to think, actually, yeah, this is definitely an industry I can see myself in, because people were very generous with their time. Really, it was just really good, and I need to do more of it. I need to do a lot more networking. I mean, I know one or two financial planners, but at the moment my network is pretty small. But even those conversations that I had a little while back with them was useful in terms of the order in which I did the exams, because, for instance, they were giving me advice saying, well, look, we do a lot of pensions work. You really ought to think about doing RO4 next. That's why I did it in that slightly odd order. And it's quite a tough one, but I'm glad I got it out of the way.
Don't you know?
Yeah, I'm glad I got it out of the way. But in terms of going back to the original question, I think definitely echo what Ruth was saying. Just go for it, but also realize that it is a relatively accessible industry to get into, because you don't have to do a full degree or something like that, or go back to university. You can, just take one module at a time. They're not exorbitantly expensive. You can get your head around it, even if you're not in the industry. And I think, for me, the missing bit has been, trying to actually get a role in the industry. I hope now I'll be in a good position to do so. But I think what I found was, once I got on a roll with the exams, I just wanted to focus on them and get them done. And that's kind of how it's panned out this year. I've just sort of really thought I need to knuckle down and get this out of the way, because think starting a new role in a completely different industry and trying to do, a fairly tricky qualification, on balance, it may not have been the right decision, but I thought, let's just get the qualification.
But isn't it nice to be staring down the barrel of having done RO6 rather than, right at the beginning with the delightful RO1?
Yeah, it's been a big weight lifted now, and I do feel, obviously result pending, that I can go out there and be proud of what I've done so far and talk about that and be equipped with some knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, there are some fantastic people on LinkedIn, and so many want to encourage people such as yourselves, people getting into financial services, wanting new blood within the industry. And you've got different forums, you've got people acting as mentors. It's amazing how generous a lot of people within financial services are with their time, with their help. So one of the things I'd say to anybody listening, is reach out and ask. I've put more experienced individuals in touch with newbies so that they've got a medium to ask that person questions. Which route do I go? What options have I got? Because when you're first starting out, it's difficult to know where to go. And both of you are at a different point in the journey. You've self-studied, James. You've done it at the same time with a family. With a full-time job. Whereas Ruth has actually managed to get sponsored by a company and put through an academy, just having shown, not just, but having to show that she's got the commitment by getting an initial qualification. So you're actually two very different, distinct examples of individuals getting into financial services, but both enthusiastic. 100%. I can feel the passion. Right, I'm conscious that it's 28 minutes past. And the three of us, as I say, could probably chat for a good an hour more. But I'm just going to check whether there are any questions. So has anybody got any questions that they'd like to ask?
Don't be shy. There's no such thing as a silly question. There really isn't. So please.
Because let's face it, Ruth, we've asked them, haven't we?
Oh, I have.
Hi.
Absolutely. Hello.
Oh, yeah, I just muted myself. Hi, I'm Phyllis. Nice to meet you all, and it's been very, very helpful. I do have a bunch of questions. I might have too many, so I'm just going to select the best one. Sorry. So I have been looking into moving into a role.
So cute.
Sorry, I've been looking to moving into a junior role. So I've been connecting with my friends who are currently in the industry. And then I have just been kind of connecting with headhunters or recruiters. They have all been asking for whether I have RO exams. So would you recommend completing RO1 individually prior to going into a role? Or would you prefer, or would you recommend going into a role and then starting the exams with the company with hands-on training? What is the best route to start?
I don't think there's 100% right route, but there are a lot of firms out there that ask for RO1 and sometimes actually RO5, as a minimum.
Okay.
I mean, Ruth, James, what do you think? I mean, I personally think I would get RO1 done, and then see who is out there for you. What do you two think, Ruth?
I think it's a lot. You got to kind of investigate what's out there as well, as in there are some companies that will put you through the whole of the process, and they'll pay for you to do that. Now you might be tied into them, obviously, to work for a certain amount of time, but I don't think it would harm to get those qualifications to prove, because it will prove that you can do it and that you are interested in it. So I think that would be the starting point, but obviously that's if finances allow, because it's not cheap to do, and as long as you've got the time to be able to do it. Whereabouts are you from? Are you in the country?
Yeah, I live in Guildford, so My accent might be a little bit confusing. I grew up in international school back in Hong Kong, but I'm London-based, looking to kind of moving into a London role, which might be a little bit different from James himself. So yeah, I'm quite in the beginning of my search at the moment. So I'm just basically looking to have as many resources out, as many kind of information / connections I have. So yeah.
As I say, I personally think if you can get RO1, that's gonna open some doors. I've never been through a recruiter myself, but I think they need some sort of minimum to be able to sort of like sell you to, not, I don't mean in the, to promote you. That's a far better phrase. Yeah,
Sales fine too.
Absolutely, as a potential candidate. So
yeah,
what do you think, James?
In a way, I'm in a similar position to you, Phyllis, but you know, I took the view that it would be a good idea to have some of the qualifications, and I've maybe taken it a bit too far.
On a roll, didn't you?
Yeah, but you know, that was my thinking. I know that, for instance, the St James's Place Academy, they want you to have RO1 and RO5 as well, and I know you mentioned that, Louisa, but you know, so it seems to me that people do want you to, you know, have demonstrated in some way that you're able to take the qualifications and that you've got that interest. So, you know, I'm hoping that my approach will stand me in good stead.
Yeah, because as well, Phyllis, you're asking a firm to invest in you. Yeah, and I think from their perspective, as James quite rightly says, they've got to be able to see that you've got the drive, that you've got the ability. Now, you know, qualifications, and nobody shoot me for saying this, aren't the be all and end all. Yeah, it's so much more about how you build relationships, yeah, your work ethic, etc. So it's not just about getting that initial RO1 badge. It's all the other things, but I don't think it can hurt.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is kind of the decision that I've made to do. Just wanted to make sure that that's the right thing to do. Yeah.
I came from management and hospitality and got made redundant on one of my last posts. And I was lucky enough to find a company that works under the umbrella of SJP. I haven't sat any of my exams yet. However, since the 1st of July, when I started with the company, I'm now the assistant manager to the operational director. So I don't have the qualifications I'm studying. So it's just different for everybody. And I think it's just how lucky you are if you manage to get your foot in a door with no qualifications and somebody's willing to just go. Yeah.
I mean, how did you get your foot in the door with the company that you are with now? Was it social media? Was it you networking? You knew somebody?
Luck, recruitment. I was just having a nosy. I seen and I thought, well, financial, you know, I've done a lot of that as well in the past. And I thought, I'm going to take a leap of faith, you know. I'm in my 40s starting anew. That's scary.
You're a baby. You're a baby. Can I say?
So no, I'm doing it all. I can do either reports, illustrations, SLs, and pensions. I have done a couple of transfers, but yes, so it's about having somebody that's going to take a leap of faith in you as a person. Yes. So yeah, I'm pretty much doing the job already. And I don't have it. I haven't got the
and putting off getting RO1, no doubt.
Yes. Yes.
Incredible. I was going to say though, Louisa, I know a lot of it comes down to luck, and it's like people saying, "Oh, I was in the right place, I met the right people," but it's a case of try and make your own luck as well. As in, if day one does, if door one doesn't open, go and bang down door two. Put yourself in places where you might meet people within the financial services industries. I know companies have open days that you can go to and go and just investigate to find out more, and then you'll make connections. Like you said, just speak to anybody about anything, because that's what your job is going to entail when you become an advisor. So think of it as practice. Yeah. So just do what you can to put yourself in the right situation to make those doors open for you.
And actually,
Yeah.
there are a fair few conferences. So Phyllis, if you're studying the CII exams, we always recommend that you become a member of the Personal Finance Society.
Yeah.
The main reason is you get your exams cheaper. Yeah.
Oh.
But once you're a member of the PFS, they do lots of conferences, they do regional conferences, and they're attended by financial advisor firms. Yeah, so even doing, you know, something like that, and you'll need to be a member of the PFS to use the letters after your name once you get your level 4. But doing some stuff like that, getting out, going to the conferences, listening to speakers, and just as Ruth says, being brave and just going and knocking on doors, talking to people. There's so much out there that you can actually do.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been taking a lot of calls from recruiters as well as my friends who are in the industry. I have my first interview tomorrow as well, so
fantastic.
That's
good luck.
Thank you. I'm just hoping to speak to a lot of people, and then I joined some communities that might help you guys as well. It's called FAM, Financial Advisors Membership.
Financial Advisor Mentorship, isn't it?
FAM,
Next Gen Planners, which is a fantastic medium again.
Yeah, absolutely. I would suggest everyone else here to join as well. I believe his name is Benjamin Beck, which I reached out to you.
I know Benjamin. We were at the Money Marketing Conference last year on a panel about encouraging more advisors into the industry. And he has been amazing. Yeah,
amazing.
And this is what I mean. People will absolutely give up their own time for no reward to help get people, new blood, into our industry. He's a fantastic chap. And
he's very responsive on LinkedIn as well. So if you guys have any questions, he'll answer right away. Probably not right away, but well.
He's absolutely brilliant. But no, I mean, Penny's experience is from the other side of the coin, isn't it? You know, being in the right place at the right time, somebody seeing, and I can see, with Penny, just from the few minutes that she was talking with us, it's not just about the qualifications, it is about, having the drive, having the enthusiasm, having the work ethic. There's so many different doors, of entry into financial services. But now I'm going to be stalking Penny to make sure she starts on her RO1. No hiding now, Penny, I'm afraid.
I know, and I've just followed you on LinkedIn as well.
Big mistake. You'll see lots of pictures of cats. Yeah, but they are gorgeous. I
have 4, so I can't say anything.
Fellow convert. Fantastic. Has anybody else got any questions? Because I'm conscious that we're up to our 40 minutes. Anybody wanted to ask anything else?
It's me, Louisa Ashita.
Hello, Ashita.
Hi, Louisa. Okay, I don't have any question, but I definitely would like to share something in a minute. I've just started the journey of giving the exams, and for me it was a dreadful of RO1 because I tried it 2 years back without studying much, but I did it and I just got 62, and that put me off because for the first time ever I saw it as fail, and after that I had never thought of doing something. In these 2 years, I got in touch with, I should say in the 6 months time, I got in touch with Louisa from BTS and LinkedIn. Thanks to that, I didn't know what it was, that it was the right decision to get a study guide because CII book was just a bouncer for me. And the study guide, if anyone like Phil, if you're thinking about, or Penny, if you're thinking about doing RO1, my strong suggestion would be go for the BTS study guide. Trust me, it made my RO1 so interesting. I thought, why didn't I do this exam 2 years back? I could have just done it. And I got 81%, which just
fantastic.
And I'm just saying, within 2 weeks, I hooked up with that book. I started liking the pictures in it. It was made very interesting. So definitely a strong recommendation for BTS. And now I've registered for RO2. By default, I've ordered the study guide, so I'm on it. Let's see how it goes. So I'm in the preparation of RO2 now. So yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Ashita. And it's a really good point, everybody. Yeah, because sometimes what you learn from can make you think you can't do it, and it can actually slow you down in your journey.
Yes.
And everybody, you have lots of choice out in the market. BTS, yeah, obviously I think we're fabulous. So does Ashita. Yeah, but you don't just go with the, oh right, I've got to get it via this route. You've got lots of choices. And we speak to lots of candidates that have actually been put off, yeah, with their first experience and think, no, it's not for me. I'm not bright enough. Yeah, you know, you obviously need to be much more intelligent. And that's not true. Yeah, you know, they are bright enough, just actually what they're using doesn't suit them, doesn't suit their learning style, and it just makes the process a lot harder. So
I always say work smarter, not harder. And I'll be the first to admit I'm not the brightest spark out there.
you're a grafter.
I have to graft to learn to get knowledge in. I'm one of these people that reads sentences like by word. There's a word for that. But yeah, so it takes me longer to kind of digest that information. I really have to graft. So you can do it. But I have to say that the BTS books that I used, they spoke my language. So they, instead of giving really, like, I just couldn't relate to the examples that were used in one of the books. When I used obviously Louisa's, it was like in such a relatable, fun way that it actually cemented it in my mind. And then I fully understood it and then could, I knew exactly when an exam question was asking me something, what it was they were asking and what the answer was. So yeah, work smarter, not harder, and kind of, if you can, I've did BTS for all of mine and I passed all of mine first time, and I'm not the smartest, but like it takes me a lot to learn stuff. So that should give people out there a little bit of hope.
And everybody, just to reiterate, there are lots of choices. Yeah. BTS, we've been doing the job 19 years, coached over 10,000 candidates. It's about you knowing you have a choice, yeah, and whoever that choice is, yeah, make sure it links your own style, how you learn. Yeah, don't just go down the, oh well, if I'm doing the exam with them, I'm going to get all the materials with them, because as with Ashita, that can actually, yeah, make you think it's not for you when it absolutely is, 100%. Yeah, it's just you haven't selected the best material for your own style. Yeah. Anybody got any other questions before I wind up this session, as we're at 45 minutes already? And I know, yeah, we could carry on for a lot longer. Anybody else want to jump in?
Hi, Donald here.
Hello, Donald.
Hi.
We're connected on
Louisa.
LinkedIn, aren't we?
Yeah. I know you. I know we've had quite a chat already. So I'm quite fortunate that, to listen to all of this, because I'm just starting my exams and I've got my RO1 booked for next month. So I've been quite blessed with LinkedIn and all of the materials and how people, progress through different stages. So I've been fortunate to come across BTS. I didn't go to the CII to get the study text, and I've seen how horrid they are. So I started with BTS and it's been fantastic, honestly. And
I haven't
know
paid him, by the way, anybody. No money has changed hands between myself, Donald, Ashita, or anybody else.
Honestly, it's been brilliant, and I've already got quite a few study texts for RO5, RO3, and RO2 already lined up, because
you're stacking them up, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather just get everything, and I'm self-funding, by the way, because I work in sales at the moment, so I can like Louisa, I can chat for days really. This has been really helpful, especially for someone like me who's just starting and looking to get into the profession. And it just makes you feel like I'm not necessarily the brightest person. I never was in school anyway, but especially going through CMAP last year, and that's really helped me, especially going through RO1. It's made a lot of the information, like I've got a steady foundation already, so it's really helped.
And actually, having gone through CMAP, Donald, you know that you've got the ability. Yeah, that's given you a bit of confidence to think, I can do this. Yeah, and I know
absolutely.
you've got the work ethic, yeah, because
Yeah,
we've been chatting, and some of it is about having that confidence in yourself, thinking,
yeah.
right, RO1, you
Mm.
are in my sights.
It's not very exciting, is it?
I think it's dead exciting. I can make RO1 exciting, I promise. But yeah, it's probably not my favorite subject. But as
Yeah,
sessions like this, it's all about getting people talking, listening to other people's experiences,
yeah.
and being generous with our time to help new blood into the industry. Okay, can I just say such a huge, big, thanks to Ruth and to James. Yep, you've been amazing. As I say, you're our first guests. So exciting. Thank you for everybody that has dialed in. We will release this session as an audio, yeah, but do bear with us because it might take us a couple of days. Yeah, so we will release it as an audio so you can go back, you can listen to it, get in touch with us if you've got any questions. And good luck, everybody. Yeah, just keep chipping away at it. Yeah, and as Ruth says, get out there, go get them. Yeah, and thank you, everybody, for listening to us. Thanks very much.